Check, check, check. Okay, there we go. Last time, it went back to default. Yeah, now it's good again. I don't know why it did that. Check, check, check. Check, check, check. check, check. Welcome in, everybody, to Jerome Aginla Arena in St. Albert, where the 3-2 St. Albert Crude are at home and ready to take on the 1-3 visiting Edmonton Warriors. The Crude and Warriors both met up last Thursday, where the Crude would take down the Warriors by a score of 11-7. The Warriors quite tight, or played that game quite tightly, and were full marks for pushing the Crude to a narrow win. What will be in store tonight as these two teams go back at it for a second time in a row? Well, we'll have the answer for you here coming up on CROW LAX TV. Thanks everyone for joining us here tonight. Another matchup in the north, the Crude and the Warriors. Crude will be going from right to left on your screen wearing their home grays, while the Warriors wearing their road whites will go from left to right on your screen. And off the draw, the ball gets pulled to the near boards, and it's going to be picked up there by McConnell. McConnell dances around a little bit, just avoids the over and back, and gets the ball down low, and it gets thrown back up to him. Ball into the stick of Elliott, who had 4 goals on Thursday night when these two teams went at it in the first period. Ball up top now to Bowie. Bowie to Fodchuk. Fodchuk skips underneath. Fodchuk, and he goes up and over top of the net. Starting goaltenders tonight for the Warriors, Ava Pinch makes her second start of the season. Her first was a 9-5 loss to the Outlaws about a week and a half ago. And in net for the Crude will be William Horn, who comes in off of a big win over the Shamrocks last Sunday in Calgary. Ball gets swung over to Andrusiak, back up top to Morris. Morris down low to Twelves, back up to Morris. Pick set there. Morris bounces one in on Horn. Ball picked up by Regan Carey, who's come back down into Junior B after being cut by the Junior A minors. That ball gets bounced off the floor and up into the netting, and it'll be Crude ball. That's a big addition for the Warriors, getting Regan Carey back. A bona fide threat off the left side, and somebody who can create offense for the Warriors. Here is Elliott. Elliott up top. Thought about dishing to Wells, then he tried to feed him, but the ball was out of his reach. Ball goes to the near boards, where Elliott's going to pick it up. Elliott from distance, right into the crest of Pinch, who's going to outlet, and lobs one into the feet of Lafleur. Ball bounces into the deep into the Crude zone, and it's picked back up by St. Albert as they run out. And it's into the stick of Drader, who's looking for someone to dish to. Drader to Wells. Wells back up top to Bowie. Fodchuk up top to Elliott. Elliott over to Wells as the Crude space the floor. Ball skipped down to the stick of Nestor. Backdoor look, and that just got through Pinch, but she fights it off. And then the ball got kicked out and back into the crease, and it'll be Warrior ball. Redlick who was also let go by the Miners, back down and playing his second game of Junior B. And he's going to be another key player for the Warriors this season. Here's Nicholson over to Basinger, and now Morris skips it back over to Nicholson. Nicholson shot, that's wide. And it's picked back up by the Crude, and McConnell runs back out over center, and he'll pull up. McConnell waits for some help. I want to take this time to thank the Crude Tier 1 2025 sponsors: Dylan Doken Contracting, Central Social Hall, Wenman Land and Cattle Co., Zender Ford, Impact Homes, Alberta Sportswear, Frank Sandblasting, United Sport and Cycle, Ironwork Local 720, Key to Safety. As the ball gets batted loose by Captain Danny Fair, who tries to run it down, and he does so as the shot clock expires. It'll be Warrior possession. Bit of a risky play there. Might have wanted to just keep that loose, but they survive it, and Carey brings it up to the top of the dotted line. 12 skips it over to Carey. Carey with a couple of picks set there. Carey to the net and loses it, and it'll be picked up by Dzwanka. Dzwanka is going to make his way out, and he lofts a pass that's picked off by the Warriors, and that's Lentz, who gallops into the zone. Lentz has numbers here, and he's going to hand it off to Lafleur. Lafleur down low to Carey. Carey steps around the seal. He swings it into the stick of Royer. Royer with a couple of goals on Thursday against the Crude. Gets it over to Andrusiak. Andrusiak floats one way over top of the net. That'll be over and back, and it'll be Crude possession. 16:15 to go here early on. No score as these two teams battle again for the second time in less than a week. Here's Elliott into the stick of Lemieux. Now with Fodchuk back over to Elliott. Elliott surveys. Now he gets the ball down low. Ball comes back up into the stick of Lemieux. Lemieux to Fodchuk on the half wall. Fodchuk throws that and skips it to Elliott. Elliott underneath Elliott and bounces that short side. And it's 1-0 Crude. So Liam Elliott picks up where he left off on Thursday. He gets on the board, and the Crude take an early 1-0 lead. That goal brought to you by Dylan Doken Contracting Limited. DDC is a general contracting company. Our attention to detail and giving the customer what they ask for is our company's main objective. For your general contracting needs, call Dylan Doken Contracting Limited. As the ball gets thrown into Nicholson, and he stepped inside the crease as he released it, and Horn stopped it anyway as the ball comes back north with the Crude. Here's Reich. Reich up top to Elliott off the bench. Liam Elliott down the near wall, comes back over top, and he swings it in the stick of Nestor. Nestor threw it to Wells, who lost it, and here go the Warriors. Here's Redlick in transition, never afraid to push. Redlick to the net. Redlick stopped by Horn, and it looked like Redlick did a good job of avoiding the crease, but they called him inside, and it'll be Crude possession. Here's Huckabee, rookie for the Crude, out of the South Edmonton 17A program. It's Huckabee tried to get that to Lemieux, his former teammate in 17A. And now current teammate with the Crude. Ball goes loose. That'll be, well, I thought it might be interference. Won't be. And the Warriors will pick it up. Here's Brody Stashniak. Another guy let go by the Miners recently. He's back down with the Warriors. So the Warriors have three guys that could be real impact guys in this game that they didn't have as recently as a week ago. Here's Basinger. Basinger, that hit bar. And the ball pops back up into the stick of 12s to Carey. Here is Andrusiak. Kind of tried to flip it inside to Carey. Ball goes loose. And now a swim move. And the ball's brought out by the Crude. That's Nick Apillo for St. Albert. He hands off to Elliott, who once again comes down the near wall. Elliott into the stick of Wells. to Fodchuk. Fodchuk wearing the C for the Crude, gets it to Elliott. Elliott hops around a pick, and a nice backdoor to Wells, and Wells floated that over top of the net and wide, and then a long shot in on pinch. He handles that easily, and the Warriors will look to outlet. 13:30 to go here, first period. Crude 1, Warriors nothing. Johnny Royer going to his favorite move, the swim, and he's going to step back off a check. He feeds it inside, doesn't get to Nicholson, but it falls into the stick of Andrusiak. Shot off a body, and there was a pretty easy interference call, doesn't get called, and now McConnell in, and it'll be Warrior ball, and they would not have been happy about that if that ended up in their net, but it'll be Warrior ball. Carey across the rag line. Here's Carey. Throws it into the feet of Basinger. That bad pass is going to be turned into a loose ball. And now right on top of the crease. There was a battle for it. They're going to say the Warriors stepped in. Well, no, they say back in. It's a good call there by official Sean Reed, and it'll be Warrior possession. 1-0. The Crude continue to lead here about midway through the first period. Here's Carey. Tried to step around a check. He lost his footing, and now the ball goes loose. Nicholson races after it. Nicholson with 2 Crude defenders around him. Now Nicholson picks up the loose ball. Nicholson off of a Crude body, and the ball goes up off the glass, and it'll be Crude possession. Back the other way is Bennett Frey, who gets it to Bowie. Bowie swings it into the stick of Fodchuk. Fodchuk up across the top and sends it high and wide. That's going to be back over in Warrior possession. 12-12 to go. First period, 1-0, the Crude lead. Ball is swung down into the stick of Kai Morris. Morris to Nicholson. Nicholson looks, waits to dish, and then he gets it to Andrusiak. Andrusiak hits Basinger back door, but the ball goes wide, and now the ball is going to be knocked away and taken by Drader, who hits right, or it hits Ferretti on a breakaway. Ferretti stopped by pinch. Now the rebound out to Drader. Drader in, and that's soaked by Royer, who did a good job of backtracking. That's something the Warriors really struggled with early on in the season, getting back and making sure they were responsible in reverse transition, and Royer does a good job of that there. Carey carries it down the near wall. He gets met with a stiff check. That's Tyson Smith on him. Carey up top to Evelyn. Evelyn winds and fires, and that goes wide. Here's Dzwanka. He's going to have to go through a couple of Warriors. He does so. Dzwanka to the dotted line. Dzwanka bounces that at the feet of Pinch. Stopped, turned away, and it'll be Crude possession as it goes up and out of play. Here's Wells. Wells goes around his check. Wells, good stop there by Pinch. As the Warriors look for some space here. Pinch throws that high, and it was right near the Crude bench. It gets knocked down by the Crude, and it's going to be picked up by Fair. Fair gets that to Morris, who's got to evade some traffic here as he goes right by the Crude gate. Morris around the net. Morris goes for a run and does a good job of getting away from some danger there. Now across the top goes Royer. Royer off a stick. And the ball is going to be turned into Crude possession. And now a wide open breakaway. Ferretti. Ferretti stopped again by Pinch. So that's 2 breakaways for Pinch that she's turned away, and now the ball is going to come back the other way. Here is Jama for the Warriors. Jama gets the ball to Redlick. 10 minutes to go here. First period, 1-0. St. Albert leading the Warriors. Here's Carey. Carey into the stick of Basinger. Basinger gets checked there heavily by Huckabee, who's aggressive, pushing him all the way out over the blue line. Now backdoor, 12's tried to hit Andrusiak. Did not connect, and it'll be Crude possession off the 30-second shot clock expiration. Want to thank our first period sponsor here at the media timeout, Zender Ford. We're the car dealer in Spruce Grove who will go above and beyond to meet our customers' needs. We are conveniently located on Highway 16 and have great hours, so we can help you with any vehicle needs you may have. Also want to thank United Sport and Cycle. United Sport and Cycle is a specialty sports store located in the heart of Edmonton. We see sports as a way to bring people together, and our driving force has always been to help athletes of all levels reach their full potential. And Impact Homes. Impact Homes is a Coventry Group company and is flexible home builder serving Edmonton and surrounding areas. With over 60 years of combined experience, Impact Homes is a leading Alberta builder. I want to thank you for joining us here on CROW LAX TV. It's another North Division battle here, midweek. Early week, midweek, whatever you want to classify Tuesday night as. Hit subscribe, you'll be notified every time a game goes live. Ball across the top, down low. Elliott hits somebody backdoor, can't quite see who that is, but that's turned away. That might have been Stenson. And now the ball is in the stick of that was Stenson as the ball comes back with Pennock, and now into the stick of Carey, who had to reach up to grab that. Carey has two Crude defenders sitting there waiting for him. The ball gets swung into the stick of Royer. Royer back to Carey. Carey looking to dish. He gets it into the stick of Muir. Muir, Nicholson. Nicholson gets tied up, and now he grabs it. Nicholson, the shot clock had expired, and that would have been no goal, but Horn turned it away just to make sure. 8:45 to go now, first period, still 1-0 Crude lead. Jama chases Frey, and he defers to Elliott. Fodchuk up around, and that shot got soaked. Ball goes loose, Lemieux. Loose ball, tried to go underneath Redlick, didn't occur. And now it looks as though the Crude are going to go to the penalty as a stick was knocked out of Jama's hand, and the Warriors will go to the power play. So it looks like Andrusiak will be up top, Carey, and 12s on the shooters, and Royer and Nicholson down low on the crease. Andrusiak to 12s, he looks, gets it back up top to Andrusiak. 12s, steps into one, that's well wide. Carey's got to save this from over and back, he just does. Carey skips it through the box, but wasn't handled by Royer, and now here to go with the Crude. Reich, some Warriors on his tail here. Reich to the net, and that's wide. Ball goes out, or doesn't go out. The ball is going to bounce near center, and now Andrusiak will pick it up. 7:45 to go here, first period. Warriors continue on the power play for the next minute 10. Warriors really taking their time here. Shot clock down to 17 before they even set up. And Morris now out here on the power with Royer going to the top. Carey steps into one, and he scores. Carey, it looked like Horn had that, but it sort of hit him and rolled in behind him and found some mesh. It's 1-1. So Regan Carey, in his first game back in Junior B, gets on the board. We're all even here early on. I want to thank Wedman Land and Cattle Co. With 4 generations of expertise, we are a tradition of excellence. Quality cattle, performance horses, and reliable trucking services. We're here to serve your needs across Alberta. Here's Frey, gets hit high a little bit as Jama chases him around. Frey is going to hand off to Elliott. Elliott down the wall. As Jama is going to go to the net. Jama, and he tried to go far side, and he gets hit from behind. No call. As the ball turns back up floor. Here's McConnell, or sorry, not McConnell, Bowie. Bowie gets grabbed. Lentz without a stick. Now Elliott is going to try a swim move on Redlick. Redlick chases him back up. Bowie, ball get into the feet of Fodchuk, who rips one at the stick of Pinch, and that's turned away. Now Redlick is going to get met here just over center. Redlick is going to take two Crude defenders to the net, and he gets his stick knocked away. I'm going to call interference. It'll be Warrior ball. And now Redlick, who gave the Crude defender a shove. Oh, I thought they were going to get Redlick, but it was Ferretti who rolled the ball into the corner. He gets to lay a game. It'll be another Warrior power play. So 6:07 to go here in the first period. The Warriors will go to their second man advantage, all even up at 1. Andrusiak, 12. Andrusiak to Carey, back to Andrusiak. Here is Carey stepping in. Ball over on the right side now with 12s. Andrusiak mishandles it, grabs it back. Andrusiak to 12s. Warrior power play looking a little lost here, as the ball gets skipped down nicely, and Royer with a quick stick stopped by Horn. And now the Crude are going to try and avoid the count, as Nicapillo has his stick knocked and the ball goes loose. Carey is going to wait for some reinforcements here. Here's Royer. Royer to the net, and he floats that wide. Ball pops up in the air, and Druziak saves it. Ball skipped down low to Morris. Here is Royer to Carey. That ball gets sent in, and it's blocked, and now Dzwanka comes back the other way. Dzwanka has got Reich. Here's, well, the ball was out of his reach, and the ball is going to go into the corner, and is picked back up by the Crude. With about 48 seconds left on the kill, Nicapillo makes his way down the wall. Floats it up high to Elliott. Elliott down the boards, where he's going to be doubled, and he's going to just throw that into the corner with the shot clock winding down. Warriors with one more possession on this power. 30 seconds to go in it, 4:30 to go in the opening frame. Crude 1, Warriors 1. Here from Jerome McGinley Arena. The Warriors again here, taking their time getting on the floor. Shot clock down to 18 before Andrusiak gets there. Andrusiak. The low shot taken by Royer, and he loses the loose ball, and here goes Huckabee. Huckabee to the net, steps back, stopped by Pinch. Huckabee did a good job of sort of using his speed and then pulling back out and getting the shot off, as 12s look like he stepped back over there. We go back to 5-on-5, still tied 1-1. The Crude with the kill. Here's Basinger up to Royer. I don't know, some of the Crude look like, as Nicholson to the net, fought his defender off and got underneath him and then slammed it in the net. It's 2-1. Dylan Nicholson with the power move. He likes to go one-on-one, and he was able to work his way around the defender to grab the Warriors their first lead of the game. Now off the draw, it's going to be picked up by the Warriors. Stashnik does a good job of avoiding traffic there, and he gets it to Andrusiak. Ball now down with Redlick. Redlick swings it across the floor to Basinger. And now the ball is knocked down by Huckabee, who's going to race back out, and he's been pretty good in transition so far. He hands it to Fodchuk. Fodchuk is going to take it to the net. Fodchuk to the net, and Fodchuk scores. 5-hole on Pinch to make it 2-2. Aggressive run there by Fodchuk. He made up his mind he was going to go. He went to the cage and gets the Crude back even. So Fodchuk with the marker. Usual suspects for the Crude on the board. Elliott with the first one. Fodchuk with the second. 12s to Nicholson. Nicholson gets a pick there. Oh, Carey was wide open and he missed him. Now Nicholson makes his way around a defender and shot it low in the 5-hole region of Horn, and he fights it off to preserve the 2-2 tie. Now on the far wall is Stenson. Stenson steps back up top to Nestor. That ball was high and away from Elliott. Now the ball gets lofted in on Pinch, who grabs it before it rolls back out into the middle of the floor. That pass is not going to go anywhere, and it'll be Crude ball. Ball comes back over center with Nestor. 2-2 with 2 minutes to go, opening period. Here from Jerome McGinley. All you got to do is hit subscribe. You'll be notified every time a game goes live here on CROW LAX TV. Here's Cameron with the knockdown. Now Cameron zooms by the Crude bench. Cameron is going to stop off as he's checked by Bowie. Cameron rolling around a check. Cameron needs to dish this. Still hanging on to it is Cameron. And then he rolls it up top to Carey. Carey down the near wall. Carey up across the dotted line. Carey steps back and shoots it right into a difficult region for Dzwanka. And the ball comes back the other way with McConnell. Just a minute to go here. Just over a minute to go in the opening frame. 2-2. We sit. Crude and Warriors. Fodchuk on the skip pass from Elliott. Skips it back over to Elliott. Elliott met there by Evelyn. Now Elliott underneath. He's pushed back around behind the net, and Evelyn checks him into the boards. Ball goes loose, and Pennock will come away with it. Here's Pennock. He's got a lane to the net. Well, he got cut off at the last second as Huckabee was able to step off his man and sort of interrupt his path to the net. Here's Nicholson. Nicholson's going to take his guy to the net. Nicholson loses it. He's slammed into the boards. He picks the loose ball back up, and his stick gets knocked away. He hammers the Crude player, looked like McConnell, into the boards. The Crude will call a timeout with 23 seconds to go in the period. So you'll see the Crude go 6-on-5 here. They'll pull the goaltender. And I would imagine maybe 80 to 90% of the time, teams that sort of know what they're doing will put a guy in the middle and try to draw an extra defender in and open up somebody else down low or up top to shoot. So out of the timeout, the Crude will start from their own end. Fodchuk will go back to get it. And you'll start to see them go around the 8-second mark. They'll hold until then and make sure the Warriors don't get an attempt at the empty net. Here's Wells to Elliott. As Fodchuk around the net. Fodchuk grabs it. Fodchuk, a running shot, stopped by Pinch. The ball goes loose, and that'll do it for the opening frame. After the first period of play, it is the St. Albert Crude 2, the Edmonton Warriors 2. We want to thank you so much for joining us here on CROW LAX TV. Hit subscribe, you'll be notified every time a game goes live. And for everybody in the chat, we thank you too. Get active in there. Don't feel free to share your thoughts, your opinions, what you're seeing out there, and keep in contact with us. After one period of play, it's the Crude 2, the Warriors 2. We'll check back in with you in about 10 minutes time. Check, yeah. Should be fine. As they fire up, shipping up to Boston here. The Warriors don't come out for the face-off, and they blow it in. But now they want to restart back at the dot. And so a strange start here to the second period. But we're underway. Shots 15-9 for the Crude in the opening frame, according to the shot clock here in Jerome McGinley. Ball gets fed into Lemieux. Ball bounces into the stick of Pinch. It's a couple of Crude players get shoved to the ground. Now here's Muir. It's a beautiful rainbow pass. Muir to the net. That's stopped by Horbay. I had it in my head. I apologize for this. I had it in my head that Horn was starting this game, so I was calling Horn as the goaltender. It is Horbay net, as some people in the chat pointed out. Thanks for that. It looks like we're going to get a restart of play here up at center, as a Warrior was slow to get up. Ball into Fodchuk. Skips it up high. Fodchuk feeds it into the stick of Elliott. Elliott hit. Elliott shoots off the ground and up over into the glass. Now Nestor is met by a check. Ball goes to the near boards, and he takes a heavy hit and just rolls it into Babiak, who missed it, and is going to have to pick it back up and take a hit to go up the floor. Babiak is met by two Crude defenders. He's going to need to get rid of this. Somehow escapes. Babiak to Morris. Morris steps around the net. Looks to feed. Morris to Carey. Carey up top to Basinger. Basinger to Reuter. Reuter up high to Nicholson. Yeah, I know. I already said, yeah. As the Warriors score here, I was just being told about Horn not being in net. I just had to tell them, yes, I realized that. Just discussed that on air here as the Warriors take a 3-2 lead. As Frey works his way through traffic, and now he's going to be pushed back over by a couple of Warriors. Redlick and Jama aggressively doing work there. As the Warriors come back into the offensive zone. Here's 12s. 12s to Morris. Morris. Andrusiak. Nicholson. Nicholson steps away from a check. He's pressured there by Nicapillo. Nicholson underneath. Now goes back up high to Andrusiak. Andrusiak kept underneath, or kept into the corner, and that'll be shot clock expiration. It'll be Crude ball. Arena's pretty quiet right now here inside Jerome McGinley. Fodchuk had to save that from going back over as he trots into the offensive zone. Skips it to Elliott. Elliott to Fodchuk. Fodchuk hits a cutter. Behind the back look there by Wells. Good stop by Pinch, and now Evelyn was away, but he missed the pass. Evelyn's got a trailer if he sees him. Evelyn steps it to Fair. Fair fakes and scores! Danny Fair with a heavy fake. Danny Fair is a guy that does not get too many opportunities, and it looked like a true goal scorer there. Beautiful move. And gets Horbay to bite. It's 4-2. Now McConnell is going to race in. Gets cut off there by Pennock. McConnell can really run. Good job there by the Warriors getting back. As he hands off to Stenson, the former Edmonton Warrior growing up as a kid, playing out of the South Edmonton Lacrosse program. That's stopped by Pinch as Redlick is going to run away. Redlick gallops over center, throws a bad pass behind his target. The ball bounces into the Warrior bench. That'll be Crude ball. And those tend to be the types of turnovers that can kill you. See if the Warriors can stand up here defensively. Ball into the stick of Fodchuk. Fodchuk underneath, gets pushed back. Fodchuk to Stenson, to Elliott. Elliott chased out by Cameron. Elliott gets up over top. Elliott to the net. Liam Elliott stopped by Pinch. Ball goes loose. It's going to be scrambled for, and it's picked up by Cameron. He's going to run out over center. He's got a 2-on-1, now a 3-on-1. Cameron throws it over the head of Carey. Carey had Basinger, but he's going to run to the net. Carey got tripped up, and the ball's going to go loose. Cameron doesn't know where it is, though, and now it's picked up by the Crude. Definitely could have seen a call there, as that took away an opportunity by Carey. Still got the shot off, but he went completely off balance as McConnell comes up over center. Ball swung over to Elliott. Crude need a one here as they tried to jam it inside to Elliott, and it's going to be picked up by Stashniak. Stashniak is going to run out over center as he gets it to Morris. Morris looked like he might have had a lane there, but he pulls it out. Royer. Of course, his brother's playing for a long time here with the Warriors, both Joe and Luke. Cousin Ben as well. As the Crude come back out over center. That's Schultz. He hands off to Stenson. 14:53 to go here, second period. It's the Crude down by a couple here as the Warriors look to get their first real win of the year, because their one win is a default win right now over the Rockies, who, as Elliott goes back door and cuts across the net, fires it past Pinch. It's 4-3. Liam Elliott with his second of the night. Nice pass. Looked like maybe Stenson on the feed there as DDC, Dylan Doken Contract Limited, is the general contracting company. Our attention to detail and giving the customer what they ask for is our company's main objective. Call Dylan Doken Contracting Limited for your general contracting needs. Big goal there by the Crew to get back within one. Here's Carey. And Druziak skips it over to Basinger. Basinger looks, feeds it, and Druziak shot that off of a Crude defender. Nicholson up top to Basinger, who mishandles it. Basinger picks it back up. Now to Nicholson. Nicholson down the pipe, loses the ball. And Nicopillo is going to shield off a defender and wait for the 30-second shot clock to expire. 4-3, 13:55 to go here, second period. Fodchuk reaches up for that. Fodchuk is met by a couple of Warrior defenders. And now into the stick of Bowie. Bowie circles back. Lemieux to Fodchuk. Fodchuk rips that off the short side. Looked like it hit the post, and the ball pops right back out to him. Fodchuk one-handed to Nestor. Nestor steps around and shoots. That gets soaked by a Warrior defender. And here is Nestor. No-look pass to Elliott. Elliott winds and fires, and that's stopped. Ball goes loose again, and the Crude will regain possession. So extended ozone time here for the Crude. Here's Fodchuk. Cameron steps off a pick. He goes with Lemieux to the net. Ball goes loose. Fodchuk tried to hit him rolling. Ball is moved back up to Wells. Wells. Heavy check there by Evelyn. Evelyn whacks him. Ball goes loose. And Jama wasn't aware of it, but now he'll pick it up. Here go the Warriors. Jama needs to get it over as he's hit by Huckabee. As the ball gets turned over into the stick of Dzwanka. Dzwanka winds and fires, and that gets stopped. If the ball goes out, it'll be Crude possession right off the goalie. Here's Stenson on the left side as the Crude take that outside shot from Wells off the right side. Warriors could have gone with it, but they missed it. And now a heavy check inside, no call. The fan's not happy as the Warriors stay on D here. Fodchuk pushed down low by Redlick. Now back out over top. Ball goes loose. Wells misses it, then bats it into the corner. It'll be Warrior possession. And Pennock come back out over center. 11:45 to go now. Second period. Warriors holding that 4-3 lead. Redlick rolls around Schultz. Redlick hands off to Nicholson. Nicholson fires it over to 12s. Coming over from the Crude in that trade earlier in the season for Dane Menon. That shot gets taken and goes right off the legs of the Crude defender, and now the ball goes loose, and it's a 2-on-1 for the Crude. Reich to McConnell. McConnell and had the ball fall out the back of his stick. Here go the Warriors back in the other direction. But the ball's lost by Babiak, and Stashnik gets it over. Stashnik looks, takes a late hit, and got it over to Nicholson. Andrusiak, far wall. Up high to Carey. Carey skips it down to Morris. Morris to Nicholson. Nicholson tucks it and shoots it and scores. Dylan Nicholson with a drag move around his defender. A little bit of a face, pulled the ball across his face and then bounced it back to the far side. It's 5-3. And out will come Horbe, and in will come William Horn. About midway through this game, the Crude going to the goaltender switch. Well, we'll see if this is temporary or if this is for good. And my guess is it's probably for good, as the Crude are in danger of dropping this one at this point. As the ball goes loose, and it's going to be picked up by Redlick, who gets hit with a heavy check there. He's pinned to the wall. Redlick trying to roll off of it. Redlick gets out of it. And here goes Redlick. And he gets it to Evelyn. The Ontario kid gets it to Carey, who scores from distance on the first shot on Horn. 6-3. That was a rough angle. I think it took everybody surprised that Carey actually shot the ball there. But it was a quick release. Caught, obviously, Horn off guard there to make it 6-3. And if the shot clock's correct, that's 6 goals on 15 shots for the Warriors. As the ball gets batted around and it's picked back up by the Crude. Here's Drader. He's met there by Stashnik. Drader inside to Nestor, and he bounces that at the feet of Pinch. They'll call go through the crease. It'll be Warrior possession. Jama to Cameron. Cameron works his way over center. He's checked there by Schultz. Schultz out of Grand Prairie will chase him around, and the ball back up to Royer. Royer to Nicholson. Nicholson shot, and that ball almost goes through Horn. Looked like it went up his jersey almost, but he fights it off, and the ball goes up to Bilichuk. Bilichuk hands it to Lemieux. Now wide open off the bench. It's Fodchuk. And he goes short side high on pinch, 6-4. So Fodchuk using his speed, straight line ability, gets going right off the bench in behind everybody. Nobody picked him up. And he's able to score past pinch, 6-4, his second of the night. So the goals are flowing here in the second period. It was 2-2 after the first. We're now at 6-4 and just barely over the halfway mark. So in the last 10 minutes, that's 6 goals. As Redlick, Crude wanting a free hand there, made his way into the zone, and the ball got lost and into the stick of McConnell. Nestor slow plays it, and he throws it way high. That was a heck of a grab by Elliott. But now he throws it away, and the ball bounces back down into the Crude zone. It'll be Warrior possession. And that'll be our second media timeout of the game. We've reached past the midway point of the second period. I want to take this time to thank our second period sponsor, Alberta Sportswear. Alberta Sportswear is the official apparel supplier of the Crude Lacrosse Club. The leader in quality embroidering, custom logo clothing, sublimated jerseys, and more. Everything from design production is all done in-house. I want to thank Ironworkers Local. Ironworkers Local 720's mission is to achieve a good standard of living and quality of life in all phases of our careers and for their families by building a reputation for performance, excellence, and unsurpassed pride within the ironworker craft. And also that last Crude goal brought to you by Dylan Doken Contracting Limited. DDC is a general contracting company. Our attention to detail and giving the customer what they ask for is our company's main objective. Call Dylan Doken Contracting Limited for your general contracting needs. Out of the timeout, it'll be Warrior ball, or out of the media timeout, it'll be Warrior ball. As 12 starts it up, he gets it to Royer, skips it over to Nicholson with a pair of goals. Royer is in and out of the stick of Andrusiak. The ball's going to turn over. Heavy hit there by Nicholson. He turns it over, and the ball goes loose. Nicholson's going to have to race for this as he and Drader get tied up. And the ball gets thrown up by Dzwanka, who got knocked around by a couple of Warrior defenders. And now Tyson Smith grabs the loose ball, and he'll swing it over to Elliott. Elliott waiting for something here. Bowie. Fodchuk, drag move, and Fodchuk with a nice release there. He tried to go almost like it was like a reverse twister. Usually you think of twisters as going short side. He went far side with that and just missed. Here's Morris. Morris knocked down the wall as Ferretti and Bilichuk chase him. Morris one-hands it. Now the ball with Royer. Across to Nicholson. Nicholson thought about shooting, steps out. Nicholson threw that behind Morris. The ball pops up, and the 30-second shot clock will expire as Ferretti and Morris have some words. McConnell comes back over center. Elliott, lob pass into the stick of Nicapillo, who gets it to Nestor. Nestor fires it to the half wall. Here is Frey, now to Elliott. Elliott surveys. Elliott drag move. Elliott underneath. Tried to get it up high, and Lemieux was behind him. And here goes Danny Fair. Danny Fair has an opportunity for another breakaway here. Fair in, and he's stopped. Good stop. He had the whole far side there, and Horn able to fight it off at the last second as the ball is raced up over center. Good stop there by William Horn, who after that questionable first goal has made some quality saves here as he's come in relief of Horbe. Now ball, Stenson. Ball goes up over top of the net. Fodchuk with the loose ball. Fodchuk runner, and that gets sailed over top. Ball goes loose. Crude unable to pick it up, and the shot clock expires. 6:38 to go here. Second period. Warriors up 2. As Lentz is going to get pressed here up near center. He gets it over. Lentz loses it though, and here go the Crude. Schultz is in. Schultz off the bar, and then it stays at the feet of Pinch. Good aggressive play there by the Crude to pressure the ball. Created the breakaway, and the post comes into play there. Royer out in front, had Carey. He didn't bring it in though. Carey gets tripped up. Again, seen that a couple of times. Here's Andrusiak. Andrusiak winds and fires, and that's going to be over and back. And Nicopillo is going to take it. I thought about taking it to the net. He rolls back out. 5:50 to go, second period. Warriors 6, Crude 4. I want to thank you for joining us here on the channel, CROW LAX TV. Hit subscribe. You'll be notified every time a game goes live. Lemieux down to Fodchuk. He whips it over to Elliott. A winding shot taken, and it stopped. And now the ball bounces right back out to the Crude. That's Bowie, who's hit by Jama. Jama chases him to the boards, and the ball comes back out. Fodchuk thought about the shot, steps back. Fodchuk over up top to Wells. Wells inside feed, and that's a good stop by Pinch, as Lemieux did a good job of getting across the face of his defender and cut inside. Good look there by Wells, turned away by Pinch. Now Stashnik to Nicholson, and he'll wait up for some help. Here's 12. Into the stick of Andrusiak, who didn't know he had it. Now he tried to feed it into Nicholson. Ball goes up. Basinger loses it after the hit. And the shot clock's going to expire. It'll be Crude ball. Ball up into the stick of Stenson. Stenson, he's got Elliott wide open. And he just, well, they say Pinch got a piece of that. Good stop there by Ava as the ball goes loose. Now into the stick of Wells. Wells tried to feed it backdoor to Stenson. That goes wildly off the boards. And it's collected by Fodchuk. Now, oh, and that was a dangerous pass. It was almost picked off, but it's saved by the Crude. And then Frey with a little bit of a spinorama and a shot off the bar. Ball is missed by the Warriors, who almost had a breakaway, and now the Crude will come back down. Fodchuk looks into the middle. Nobody there, so he gets it up high to Bowie. Bowie to the half wall. To Wells. Wells steps underneath his guy and tried to dunk it over top of Pinch. That looked like it went out, and it did. The Warrior ball. And the clock, the game clock has not been running. It was at 4:46 like a full minute ago. Just noticed that. Now it's running, but it's going to play an extra minute of time here. Unless my eyes are going retarded on me. As the ball gets shot in by Carey. Carey had that shot stopped by Horn, and now the ball goes loose. Basinger. Basinger with a fresh 30. Pick set there by Morris. Basinger loses it into the stick of Royer. Now inside, Morris was open, but the ball was sort of out of his reach, I guess, as Carey goes back and tries to drag it around a defender. Nicholson in for the loose ball. Two-man game with Carey. Nicholson underneath, he gets grabbed, and that goes in somehow. Low on Horn, it's 7-4. Another rough angle there as the defender had funneled him low, and he kind of shot it off the leg of Horn, and it goes into the net. It's the hat trick for Dylan Nicholson, who came into the game. I don't believe he had scored yet this year, and he's having the game of his life so far here, and his stick is hot, and he's got the Warriors up by 3. There's a high hit there at center. That'll be a high stick. As Lentz got his stick up on a Crude player off the draw. Pretty simple call here. And the question will be a 2 or a 5. My guess is probably a 5, but we'll wait and see. As the refs discuss, officials Wes Kendall and Ryan White. The official call gets taken, looks like a cross check, and it'll be 2 minutes. So no high stick. And the Crude will go to the power play with 3:46 to go here, second period. Warriors leading 7-4. Ball in behind the net, now to Wells. Up top, Vodchuk skips it, and that's a good save by Pinch on the quick stick from Elliott. Ball goes loose, and Fair will pick it up inside his own crease. Fair is going to run it out. Danny Fair. They got numbers if they want him, and here's Fair. He feeds it down low to Nicholson, and the ball was at his feet. They say through the crease. Very avoidable play there, but it'll be Crude ball. The Crude look to narrow this one. Here's Elliott up top. Elliott to Vodchuk. Vodchuk. Wells. And Chuck gets soaked by Brody Stashnik. And he's no worse for wear either as he hops right back into the play. As Pinch stops that, and she's going to look to get the ball up the floor. Pinch, high pass, right into the stick of Nicholson out of the gate. Nicholson takes it to the net. Nicholson, and he's going to pull out intelligently here as the Warriors look to try and kill some time. 55 seconds on the kill and 2.5 minutes to go in the period. Here's Nicholson. Nicholson steps back out. Nicholson still with it. 2 defenders on him. Nicholson, and he drops it in on Horn. Individual work there by Dillon, who had no one with him and wasted full 30 seconds. So Nicholson continues to be a horse in this one as the Crew to come back down into the offensive zone. Here's Vodchuk. 18 seconds left on the power play. Skips it. Nestor back up. Vodchuk. Back door and stopped by Pinch. Good stop by Ava again as she stayed deep in her net and was able to step over on that quick stick. Here's Redlick. Hits Royer off the bench. Royer, he bounced that wide. Ball's picked up by Andrusiak and we'll go back to 5-on-5. Shots 34-21 Crude, but it's the Warriors up by a score of 7-4. Royer down underneath, steps back out. Royer feeds it back door. Andrusiak was open, but he didn't catch the ball. Here's Carey. Carey underneath his defender, right into the middle, and he bounced that in on Horn, and he just stayed with it enough to fight it off. Here's Nicapillo. Thought it was 9, it's 19. Nicapillo gets it to Vodchuk. Just over a minute to play now, second period. Vodchuk steps out, looking to feed. Now it's right into the stick of Babiak, and Babiak is in. Babiak scores. Horn got a large piece of that, but it rolls in past him. It's 8-4. As the Warriors come back in off the draw, 38 seconds to go in the period. Nicholson into the stick of 12s. Royer wide open is Evelyn, and he tried a BTB behind the back, and Horn stayed with it. As McConnell gets pushed out near towards the bench, and somehow he survives it. McConnell throws it to Nicapillo, but he's on the wrong side of the floor. And he's going to have to run around with it to save it. As we go underneath 10 seconds here in the period. Vodchuk has Nicapillo rolling to the net. He gets hit. And He wants a call. None forthcoming. And that'll do it for the second period of play, where it is the Edmonton Warriors 8, the St. Albert Crude 4. The Warriors with the lead on the road heading to the third. We'll be right back with third period action to see if the Crude can come back after 2 periods of play. It is the Warriors 8, the Crude 4. We'll be right back with you in just under 10 minutes' time. Welcome back into Jerome McGinley Arena, where is the visiting Edmonton Warriors holding an 8-4 lead on the hometown St. Albert Crude. The Warriors got a couple in that period from Dylan Nicholson as they have their largest lead of the game, and the Crude are going to have to make a comeback, a sizable one here in the third. Thank you for joining us here on CROW LAX TV. Hit subscribe, you'll be notified every time a game goes live. Ball up with Austin Wells. Wells is gonna sort of shuffle down the boards and get it over to Lemieux. Ball over to Bowie. Ball gets picked up by Wells. Wells gonna have to loft that into the zone, and it's gonna be easily handled by the Warriors. Redlick is gonna jog it out over center. Redlick hands it off to Carey. Carey over to Basinger. He operates off the half wall. He gets it down to Royer. Royer feeds it into Carey. Carey, he just missed there on the far side. Good cut there off ball by Carey. Something the Warriors have really needed, and they've done it a lot better as Carey cut in again. He flips one in behind the back on Horn. Easy stop for him, and it'll be Crude ball. Here's Bilichuk into the stick of Elliott. Liam Elliott with a pair here tonight. Fodchuk also with a pair. They've got all the goals for the Crude. Elliott over to Stenson. Stenson into the stick of Fodchuk. He comes around the top. Fodchuk tried to hit Stenson cutting inside. That pass way behind him. And it'll be Warrior possession. As Royer gets chased there heavily by Drader. And Andrusiak flips it up top to Carey. Back to Andrusiak. They play the two-man game. Pick set there by Carey. Shot lane there for Andrusiak. Stopped by Horn. As the ball is missed by Andrusiak. And 12s will stay back on D to cut off McConnell. Andrusiak tracks back as well. And the Crude will come down in possession. Bowie steps back and he gets it up high to Elliott. Elliott runs into the zone. He skips it over to Fodchuk. Fodchuk scores. Far side, he darts in and beats pinch. It's 8-5. That's something Fodchuk does really well, is he plants really quickly, gets underneath his defender and sort of hops to the net. And he did that there to make it 8-5 and cut the Warrior lead down to 3. Now it'll be Crude ball once again. Here's Elliott, two-man with Wells. Defender in the middle with Redlick, and now Wells pops off the pick. Wells over at the top of the net. And now the ball is brought back up. Elliott looks, Elliott waits, and he scoops the ball over far side to Fodchuk, who had the shot clock expiring, and he'll just kind of nestle the ball against the glass. Here's Fair. Fair to Nicholson. Nicholson is met there by Huckabee. Now Huckabee comes out at him. As the ball gets turned back the other way, and here come the Crude. Schultz to the net, and he got knocked away, and there's going to be a call as Lentz is going to go to the box for a cross check. Some Warrior fans not too happy about that. And so the Warriors will be shorthanded for 2 minutes. 8-5, the Warriors lead with 16:32 to go. Big moment here in the game as the Crude come back down into the offensive set here on the power. ball up, or down low now, up high with Elliott. Elliott to Fodchuk as they wheel around on the right side. As that shot comes in off the left from Fodchuk. And now Redlick. Redlick is going to go here, but I'm not sure he knows he has Elliott on his back. To Stashnik. Stashnik scores! Brody Stashnik in transition, short-handed, gets his first of the season. It's 9-5. That's a big one for the Warriors, as Big Brody gets one for the roadside. And that is something Stashnik can do, and he's known as more of a stay-at-home defender, but he does have stick skills, and he can score. When he gets a chance, he often will be able to cash, and they're going to give the ball here to the Crude on a face-off violation. As Elliott trots back into the offensive zone. Elliott's still with it. They tried a little bit of a hidden ball. Here's the pick from Wells. Elliott steps in and fires and scores. 5-hole on pinch, 9-6. So Elliott completes the hat trick. Both he and Fodchuk sit with 3 goals apiece. It's 9-6. That Crude goal brought to you by DDC, a general contracting company, Dylan Doken Contracting Limited. For your general contracting needs, our attention to detail and giving the customer what they ask for is our company's main objective. So 9-6 with 15:44 to go as the goals start to pile up once again. Here come the Crude, back down into the offensive zone. Drader, met by a couple of Warriors, loses it. And the Warriors come back into the Crude zone. Stashnik, a little bit of a stutter step, gets around Reich. Now into the stick of Basinger, who gets it up high to Carey. Regan Carey to Andrusiak, left side. Andrusiak winds, fires, and pulls that wide. Ball bounces back out over center as the Crude try to run it down. It'll be Crude possession off on the over and back. And the ball up high now. Elliott down to Bowie. Bowie got it to Nestor, who floated that wide. Ball is going to go into the Warrior bench, and it'll be Warrior possession. As they're going to want to give the Warriors 9 feet here. As Morris is chased by Schultz. Morris circles back out. Nicholson, as he waits for the pick from Carey. Huckabee does a good job to step back off of that. Carey loses his glove. Now Nicholson gets it set from Carey. Carey wide open. And then he kind of mishandled it and allowed the Crude to recover defensively. They'll say off of the Crude, and it'll be Warrior ball. Now Nicholson, wide open in front. Nicholson! And that rolls in. Dylan Nicholson, I believe that's his 4th of the game. It's 10-6. I don't know what happened there for the Crude, but defensively, they just got completely lost. Ball was blown back in, and Nicholson had all day there to score. Ball's pulled to the boards, and it's picked up by the Crude. That is Reich. Reich to Fodchuk, who, like I said earlier, has 3 on the night. He and Elliott both with hat tricks. But the Crude trail 10-6. Fodchuk inside to Wells. Wells steps back out to Fodchuk. Fodchuk, Elliott. Elliott back into the stick of Elliott. Elliott, outside shot from distance into the stomach of a Warrior defender. Now in behind the net, Elliott trying to bank that in off pinch. They say no shot. You can actually score from behind the goal line, but you can't get a shot clock extension or reset off of a attempt. as the Warriors come back. Royer, 13:40 to go. Royer up across the top. Royer inside. Royer stopped by Horns. He was allowed to just sort of hop inside there over top of his defender. Had quite a bit of room. Crude back the other way. Nicapillo hands it to Bowie. Bowie underneath. Back up high to Elliott. Elliott winds and fakes a shot. Now Elliott just missed the far side low. Ball bounces back out up high, and Nestor flung that over to Fodchuk, but it was mishandled. And now the ball will bounce out back over center, and Pennock will collect. To Nicholson, who has the hot stick here tonight. 4 goals for him. Nicholson to Twells. Twells winds and fires, and he fired that wide on the far side. Ball bounces back over, and Drader tried to go there, but didn't pull the ball in, and he'll circle back out. As the ball gets picked back up by the Crude. Floated in the middle, Wells, and that's stopped by Pinch. Now back the other way. And Druziak circles back up the near boards. Gets it over to Royer. As a back pick is set there by Morris on the right side. And now a delayed call is coming up against the Crude. Royer swims. Royer met by a second man there. That's Nicapillo. He chases him to the far corner. Shot clock will expire, and we'll get a Crude penalty. Looks like a hold. Looks like Huckabee will go to the box, and it'll be a Warrior power play with 11:48 to go. And it's reaching almost emergency time here for the Crude. They need a kill and then a couple quick goals. As Andrusiak comes back up top now. And Andrusiak to 12. Carey gets the seal set there by Nicholson. Good stop there on the far side by Horn, who came in midway through the game at 5-3 for the Warriors as Drader races out. Drader still with it. Drader knocked into the boards, and it'll be Warrior possession. Jama gets it to Carey, and they'll head back north with it with 11 to go in the third and 1:20 to go on the power play. And Druziak. Morris, Carey. And Druziak. Winding low shot in on Horn, stopped. Here go the Crude. Dizwanka gets around Andrusiak. And Frey spins around Jama, and he's going to hang out up high. Frey tried to get that to Fodchuk. It was behind him, and here go the Warriors, and they'll just pull this out in no rush with 40 seconds remaining on the power play and 10:25 to go in the game, leading by 4. 12s. Carey. Andrusiak. Carey to 12s. In behind the net. Royer tried to feed that out in front. Went off his stick, and it'll be back over. As head coach Vadiep implores his men to get off the floor and so they can get their defense onto the floor up 4 here with 10 minutes to go. Elliott to the net. Cuts off ball and buries it up into the top portion of it. It's 10-7. A short-handed goal as well. And we'll see if that pulls the Crude back into the fight. That's something in Liam Elliott's game that he really didn't have in the past, and he's done that a lot more of late, and he's reap the benefits of it. Scored that way last game, cutting off someone's back to the net, catching it off ball and burying it. He does that there, shorthanded goal, his 4th of the night. It's 10-7. Here's Basinger as the teams go back to 5-on-5. Shots 39-32 Crude. Warriors up by 3. As that ball is thrown awkwardly at Royer, and Frey will come out with it over center. He pulls out as the Warriors were able to get a man out the back gate. Cameron chases Elliott. Liam Elliott stops up, gets it to Bowie. He gets it back. Elliott off the half wall. As the Warriors sink into the middle, and the Crude are going to go 6-on-5 here. Goaltender out. Fodchuk off the bench, and that's pulled wide. Ball in the stick of Stenson. Now to Elliott. Elliott winds right into the crest of pinch, and Cameron will come up. So the Crude getting aggressive here with 9 minutes to go, going 6-on-5. They get the goalie back in. Horn is in the cage, and as we creep to the 8.5-minute mark, they still trail by 3. Here's Carey. 2-man game with Andrusiak. Carey loses it. The ball's picked up by Royer, who looks inside. He tries to go up top to Andrusiak. Just gets there, but he flips the ball to the far side as Carey's thrown down. No call. It'll be Crude ball as we hit our final media timeout of the game. Want to thank our third period sponsor, Central Social Hall. Central Social Hall can be a place for drinks, lunch with a client, brunch with your family, or a late night with your friends. Born and raised in Edmonton, we're committed to providing you with an outstanding restaurant and bar service. Located at 280-525 St. Albert Trail, St. Albert. And also want to thank the Crude Tier 1 2024 sponsors, Dylan Doken Contracting, Central Social Hall, Wedman Land and Cattle Co., Zender Ford, Impact Homes, Alberta Sportswear, Frank Sandblasting and Painting, United Sports Cycle, Ironworker Local 720, and Key to Safety. So with 8:33 to go, we are about to restart play here with the Crude trailing the Warriors 10-7. Here's Elliott as the goalie is out again, 6-on-5. Elliott up high, looking to feed. Stenson whips it over, and it's picked off by Fair. Fair's got an empty net. Can Danny Fair get it? And he just misses. Now Fair gets his own rebound, and it's stopped by Horn, who ran back into the net and got a stick on it. Good hustle there by William Horn to really save this game for the time being, as he'll stay in the net now. Could that be a game changer? We'll see as we go underneath 8 minutes. Now inside, and Ava with a big save there. She got down and shut off the bottom part of the net. Here's Jama to Fair. Fair gets it to Andrusiak. Andrusiak takes a whack. Andrusiak to Carey. If you're Horn and the Crude, can't give up another one at this point if you want to get back and tie this game. And that just goes wide there as the ball gets knocked near the far boards. Basinger with the shot clock expiring throws one in on net. It'll be Crude possession. 10-7 Warriors, 7:18 to go. Here's Nestor, steps around to check, gets it to the half wall, and Lemieux to Elliott. Elliott fires it to Fodchuk. Fodchuk tried to go far side low, missed it. It'll be back over, and it'll be Warrior possession. As the play gets blown back in, it's Nicholson with some space here. Carry to the net. Tried to flip it into him. Now the ball on the far corner. Royer looks inside, tried to hit Nicholson. Pass was behind him on the off-ball cut. Now Carey fights for it. He shields away Schultz on the box out. Carey to the net. Carey bounces it right into Horn. Now the rebound right out to Royer. Royer stopped by Horn again. So a couple of big saves now by Horn, keeping the Crude in it as we get into the latter stages of this game. Here's 12s. Half wall. Morris down underneath. Back up high to 12s. 12s gets a bit of a steal from Royer. Now 12s from the boards, easily handled by Horn. And the Crude will gain possession here with just over 6 minutes to play. Shots now narrowing down and gap. 41-36, Crude lead. 10-7 though, the Warriors lead on the score clock. Here's Elliott. Back up high, go 6-on-5 again. Twister, that goes out. And they say it hit somebody on the Warriors. And it'll be Crude possession. I guess they probably thought it hit Pinch there as the ball gets thrown over to the left side. Ball thrown up high. That's behind Elliott. He's going to grab it. And he's going to look. Elliott, Fawchuk tried to quick stick it. Ball fell out of his stick. He goes and collects the loose ball. Fawchuk into the stick of Pinch. Easy stop for her, and here comes Redlick. And Druziak. Check there by Nicopillo. And Druziak has a bit of a double, but he floats it over. But Basinger had that go over his head. Reich is going to gain this loose ball, and here goes Reich on a breakaway. Reich in, scores. Reich goes sort of cross body on Pinch up high. It's 10-8 as the Warriors turn it over up high. So the Crude capitalized on a bad turnover by the Warriors, and they've narrowed it to 2. 4:40 to go now. Warriors trying to hold on. Elliott up high. This is a few possessions kind of in a row here as Horn makes his way to the bench. 6-on-5. I do like the aggressiveness of going 6-on-5 early here as they started doing it with 9 minutes to go. Stashnik picks up the loose ball, and we have an injured member of the Crude down. Didn't see what happened, but I think that might be Nestor. Really struggling here. It is Nestor. I can't tell you what happened, but the trainer will make his way onto the floor, make sure he's all right. And it'll be Warrior possession here with 4:23 to go. Here's Regan Carey. He's got it over to Royer. Royer down low. Now ball up with Nicholson. Nicholson rolls one in around a screen. Stopped by Horn, and here goes Dzwanka. Dzwanka is going to stop up. Get the ball up high to Elliott. Here's Liam Elliott. The ball over on the left side now. Off ball cut. Elliott almost was able to grab it off the bounce, but they say he ran through the crease. It'll be Warrior possession. Again, the Crude needing to keep the Warriors at 10 to have any real hope here. And Druziak backs his man in. That's McConnell. Now ball up high with Royer looking to feed. He misses Carey. Ball bounces into the far corner. And it's going to be picked up by Basinger. He gets pushed out. Basinger swings it to Andrusiak. Andrusiak is going to hold this and let the shot clock expire. And he'll get the change here with 3:20 to go here. Crude needing a pair to tie this game up still. Goalie out again, 6-on-5. Elliott with the ball. 4 goals on the night. Elliott up high. Lemieux got it down low. Elliott around the seal. Elliott winds, and that hits something out in front of the net, a body. Now Elliott inside, gets jammed up by a number of Warrior defenders. Now behind the net, shot comes in and Pinch fights it off. And here go the Warriors. Redlick is going to have to get over center. He does, and Nicholson is going to grab it off the bench. Nicholson to the net. Nicholson feeds back door, and Morris tried to bounce that. Just needed to take one more step to improve his angle, and just kind of settled for a little bit of a rough angle there, and Horn makes the stop. 2:25 to go now. Crude 6-on-5 once again. Frey to Elliott. Redlick is on him. Ball up high with with Wells. Wells. That shot gets sent in. Loose ball. Cameron will pick it up, and Babiak was hit there as Cameron comes back into the offensive zone. As looks like the Crude are going to be nabbed for too many. That's a tough one for them as they remain down 2 with under 2 minutes to go. The in-home will be serving this one. It looks like it's Huckabee. And if you're the Warriors, you probably want to make sure, because it's under 2 minutes, they're going to get a penalty shot. That's the rule. Anybody unfamiliar, player gets a too many men call underneath 2 minutes. It's a penalty shot. That's what you're going to see here. If you're the Warriors, I think you'd probably almost rather have the penalty. But if you can get a goal here, it pretty much puts it away. So taking it will be Johnny Royer, the rookie out of Sherwood Park. Royer's going to make his way in. He actually had a penalty shot goal last game they played on Thursday. Royer gets stopped. Tried to go far side around the glove of the goaltender. He wasn't able to do so. So the Crude stay alive here with 1:59 to go. And I think since they started going 6-on-5, they've had Horbe running for them. As Jama picks up the loose ball and sends a wild pass to Stashnik, who stepped in the crease. It'll be Crude ball. Here's McConnell. As he stops up, gets it high to Elliott. 1:35 to go now. Crude still in it, but they need to hurry up. Elliott, as the Warriors playing a really compact defense here, back far side, or on the crease, as Redlick is going to have an open net here. Redlick is just going to jog in and finish it off. As Redlick puts this one away, and the Warriors finally able to get that empty net goal. It's 11-8. And if you like upsets, this is definitely one here tonight out of St. Albert. Credit to the Warriors, who have really led throughout the game. Got the lead early and have never looked back. As Jama is going to pick up the loose ball. Jama gets pushed, and the ball goes into the corner. As Jama takes a cross check to the head. As Frey gets cross-checked by Jama. And you could see that coming as it happened in reverse right before that. Be a 5-minute high stick. And the Crude will have the power play to finish the game with 49 seconds to go. Here's Elliott up top now. He backpedals. Wells sets a little bit of a seal. Now inside Wells, good job to roll off of that, but he's stopped by Pinch. And Pinch is going to throw this up to Basinger, who's got heavy traffic here. Basinger goes down. He kind of knocked on the back there. It'll be Crude ball. And now behind the play, Dzwanka pushing Basinger, and he's going to go to the box. This game's already been decided, so you got some frustration playing out here. Once again, thank you so much for joining us here. We've got up to about 100 concurrent viewers in a game, late night game here on a Tuesday. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. And CROW LAX TV. Hit subscribe, you'll be notified every time a game goes live. Carey. Just going to let this clock run out. As now Smith pushes a Warrior on the far side. And the Warriors are going to get a big win here on the road. They defeat the St. Albert Crude by a score of 11-8. The Warriors go to 2-3, while the Crude drop to 3-3. As closing time comes on the loudspeaker here in the arena, it's pretty apropos for this game as the final buzzer goes. They want to thank everybody once again for joining us here tonight in what was a pretty good game. Two teams going back and forth, and the Warriors getting the win. Thanks so much, everybody, for tuning in. We'll see you back here Friday night when the Crude host the Outlaws. Final score from St. Albert: the Edmonton Warriors 11 and the St. Albert Crude 8. So long, everybody.